Hey guys, John from JohnMurrayHeadshots.com. I am running around doing bits and pieces, so I thought I'd shoot this video, just a little bit of a clarification. This morning I spent hours on the phone with the National Council of, and all the local presidents, national presidents of Junior Chamber International based here in Ireland. And we had a meeting this morning because we were supposed to have spring conference with our spring meeting, because we meet a couple of times a year. In Mayo, and that wasn't happening because of the whole coronavirus thing. Now, in America, they declared a state of emergency, and here on Monday, if you're to believe what is going around in the WhatsApp messages, that the army are going to be drafted in and the government are going to declare a state of emergency. Now, state of emergency doesn't mean it's very windy. State of emergency doesn't mean it's going to turn into Shaun of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead or one of these apocalypse films. It's not. And the army are not going to be going around the streets. If you're watching my Instagram videos, you'd know what I'm about to say. I heard somebody saying that the army are going to be going around with tanks to make sure that people don't leave their houses. How absolute shit is that? What ridiculous crap is that? It's people freaking out because they've been watching way too many films and way too many Netflix films and programs that are telling them that this is what happens when a national state of emergency is declared. Look, they're not going to go blowing up the White House. It's a virus. You know, they're not going to be going shooting people for no reason. Like, the army are not around to shoot people from next week. The army are being drafted in to help with things like logistics. People are going to be going sick. You've got delivery drivers who normally deliver medications, and they go from hospital to hospital delivering things like that and samples, because people are being tested constantly now for the coronavirus. All of that stuff needs to be taken from one place to another. So the army are there for logistics to help. The army are there as well to help with decontamination. They're there to help the frontline services, the Gardaí, the fire services, the ambulance services. The army have doctors, they have nurses, they have dentists. The army have all of this sort of stuff in place. So if a national state of emergency is declared, it's declared because there's protocols in place that say to send the army out onto the streets en masse, you have to do something. You can't just go, right lads, send the army out and let them do their thing. They're around shooting everybody, it's grand. The army are not going around shooting people. That's not what the army are here for. The army are here to help. The army are people like you and me and your friends and your neighbours. You probably know somebody in the army yourself. They're not going to be walking up and down the streets shooting randomers because they walked out to get a packet of eggs or in search of the elusive toilet rolls that seem to be missing everywhere. That's just ridiculous. So when a national state of emergency is declared, it's to release funding. So in America, it had to happen to release funding to let the National Emergency Operations Centre and the protocols that they have in place, the people that they have in place to help run the country when problems like this arise. See, these things have been thought of years and years and years ago, and there's protocols in place for no matter what happens. And when something like this happens, they go, okay, what we need to do is we need to release funds and we need to release infrastructure to help this because it's not normal. So they do it, and they declare a national state of emergency, and then that's what happens. It's probably going to happen here next week. Everybody's freaking out about the army going to be walking the streets. Look, because of Brexit, everybody was expecting a hard Brexit. So pharmaceutical companies and supply chain. So you've got Tesco's, you've got Keelings, you've got all these like Super Value, Musgraves. They stockpiled lots of stuff because they thought there was going to be a hard Brexit. And then they figured out there's not going to be a hard Brexit. So, or at least it's not happening straight away. So now there's a surplus of all these medications and stuff sitting there. Hospital supplies, all sitting there in warehouses waiting to be used. So nobody needs to freak out. You don't need to be going down and buying 400 rolls of toilet roll and a couple of rolls of kitchen roll just in case you run out of the toilet roll. You know, you don't need that. You don't need to be buying every pot noodle in the whole supermarket just in case. Everybody just needs to calm down. See what's actually happening. It was really, really well explained on the Late Late Show last night by a psychologist, and he used the analogy of chickens. So chickens do this thing called tonic immobilization. Tonic not as in what you mix your gym with, but tonic as in our movement. So when you scare a chicken, you scream at a chicken, they freeze. And the chicken will just stand there, and it'll stand there for anything up to 40 seconds. If a second chicken comes along and looks at that first chicken frozen in fear, it will do the exact same thing. It will stand there, and the two of them will stand there looking at each other going, oh shit, there's an emergency, oh shit, something's wrong. And they'll freeze, and they'll stand there both frozen for about 5 minutes until one of them goes, actually, there's nothing wrong. Humans do the same thing. You know, somebody needs to be calm in that situation. If that second chicken comes along and looks around to see what's actually wrong with the first chicken and doesn't see a problem, he'll just continue walking, and the first chicken will see that and calm down. This is turning into a bit of one of my squishy things talks. Anyway, but the whole purpose of that, and the whole purpose of that story or that example, is to say that if you're calm, and when somebody else is freaking out, you go, hold on, why are you freaking out? Why are you buying 8 million toilet rolls? And they're telling you it's because they're all made in China. This is Ireland. You're shopping in Tesco's. It's not fucking Aliexpress. You know, you're not buying it on the internet. This is real life where you physically pick it up off a shelf, and if you turn it over and look at the back of it, it'll say made in Ireland on it. Or made in the UK, or made in France. You know, these things are not made in China. And the factories in China that were originally closed down are now open again. So be the voice of reason. Stop freaking out. Understand that when something happens with the government and they do something like declare a national state of emergency, it's to release funds and it's to put plans in place to get extra resources. Because at the moment, the resources we have can't cope with a mass pandemic. The hospitals can't cope with it because actually, the hospitals in Ireland are doing amazing at the moment. There's no people waiting on trolleys because nobody's going to hospital because they fell down the stairs or twisted their ankle because they don't need to go. If there's something seriously wrong with you, you go to hospital. That's what you go to hospital for. The rest of the time, ring your doctor. So maybe this is the kick in the arse that the Irish Health Service needed as well. And all of the health services around the world to go, actually, do you know what? If I'm not sick, I'm not going to go to hospital. I'm not going to ring an ambulance because I have hairy teeth. I'm not going to ring an ambulance because I have a pain in my arse with trying to get an appointment with my dentist or my doctor. Or all the other bullshit that people ring ambulances for. So, keep calm. Just take a deep breath. When you hear news, check and see where it's coming from. If it didn't come from the government, if it didn't come from the World Health Organization or the HSE, the National Health Service in your country or wherever you are, if you got it in a WhatsApp message and it starts off with, look, I don't want to panic you, it's probably crap. Don't listen to any of that shit. Don't listen to the shit that people are telling you in supermarkets when they're standing there with 3 million bottles of bleach and 200 toilet rolls, because that's a fucking idiot. That's all that is. That's an idiot standing there. This is my rant over. That's the end of it. I don't need to rant anymore. I'm in the middle of the street. Everybody's looking at me talking to my phone. If you have any questions or anything, post them below and I'll try and give you as logical an answer as I can. Feel free to share this. It's a bit long for a WhatsApp message, but sure, I wasn't expecting it to go viral. I just wanted to get this stuff off my chest. Anyway, have a great weekend. Keep your hands washed. Keep a little bit of distance away from people and look after yourselves.